Rachel and I'm here today to film another book haul. Got some crackers here, so most of them are from a charity bookshop. Two of them are ones that I got from the supermarket when I did my shop the other day, and one of them should have been on my last book haul and I forgot about it because it wasn't on the shelf where my new books go until I've hauled them. So we're going to talk about that one first. So that first one is Luster by Leilani. I have seen some people talking about this book. I think it is quite popular. I hadn't actually seen people talking about it that much when I got it, because I got it quite a few months ago. Since I've got it, it started like, because obviously it's a book that's on my radar now. When people talk about it, I'm like, oh, that's the book I've got. Oh, that's the book I've got. Oh, that's the book I've got. So I'm actually super excited for this, and it's a really little read, and I feel like when little reads get it right, they pack so much more of a punch because they're so short and they have to like really get to the point. Super excited for this, and this was longlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction in 2021. Exciting news. So Edie is not having the best of times. There's a lot of crappy stuff going on in her life, part of which being the relationship she's having with Eric, a white middle-aged archivist in an open marriage. She goes to visit his suburban home that he shares with his wife, ends up being asked to stay to provide advice to their adopted black daughter, and she is given space while she's there to paint, to document on canvas her own life, finally. Yeah, I don't really know much more about what this is about, but it just sounds so interesting to me. And like I said, it's around 220 pages. Like, if this gets it right, I can tell it'll just be one of those that really gets it right. And that's the one that I'd missed off my last book haul because I forgot I got it. So there's that one. Then we've got the books I got from the charity shop. So all in all, I think I spent maybe a tenner. No more than a tenner, 100%. Probably not even a tenner, maybe like 8 or 9 quid. And I've got 7 books, and one of them, I can't even. Maybe we'll start with it because I'm so excited about it. I know you're supposed to like keep the best till last. We're not doing that. We're starting with it. Oh my god. It's this cracker. So this is a folio edition of Persuasion that I am in love with. So it's got a quote on it which says, Anne at 7 and 20 thought very differently from what she had been made to think at 19. We've got this phenomenally beautiful cover, and then inside it has these stunning like pages of paintings and illustrations of things from the novel. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. I made a grand goal of reading all of Jane Austen's books a few years ago, in a year. Didn't do that, obviously, but the ones I did read I really enjoyed, and I was making proper videos of them, and I have a playlist of all of the Jane Austens that I've read. The only ones I've not read, I've read half of Emma actually, but I ended up putting it down because I wasn't in the right headspace to read it, and I was really enjoying it, and I felt like it'd be one of my favourites, so I didn't want to read it in a time when I wasn't at my best, if you get what I mean. So I didn't read Emma or finish Emma, and then I had Persuasion, and I read everything else. And so when I seen this in the shop the other day, I was like, oh my god, I've not read Persuasion. Persuasion's the only one I've never tried to read. Maybe this is a sign. Maybe I get to read this gorgeous edition of Persuasion. So I'm seeing it as a sign because I just wanted it. And oh my god, it's not going to be on here, is it? No, it was on a sticker. I swear to god, I think it was like 2 quid. Something ridiculous like that, and it's the most stunning book ever. I'm just so in awe of it and the beauty, and I love it. So yeah, that was my most treasured find. I was very excited about that one. And then another classic that I got that I've never heard of, but it looked like something I'd enjoy, and I think the painting on the cover is a Renoir, which, if you know anything, it is a Renoir. If you know anything about me, I love Renoir. He's like my favourite artist of all time. Absolutely love him. With all that excitement I've just built up, we have The Diary of Mademoiselle d'Arvers by Toru Do. I'm sorry, I obviously don't speak French, so that's why I'm not doing that so well. So this book is set in France in the second half of the 19th century, and it follows 15-year-old Marguerite. Fresh from her convent education and extremely religious, she returns to her family and experiences the first stirrings of love, only to find herself entangled in a complicated net of relationships. The story traces Marguerite's growth through adolescence to maturity and marital happiness. That just sounds really nice and exciting, and I've not got a lot of classics in like where I live. because a lot of my books are still at my parents' and I've been missing classics a lot at the minute. I have a really overwhelming urge to read Little Women at the minute, so I think that's going to be the next classic I end up reading. I haven't read a classic for ages. Super excited for that. But yeah, that's why I ended up picking this book up, because I was like, oh, I want to have some classics in the house to pick up when I need some Sunday afternoon with a cup of tea vibes, reading a classic, because everybody needs that. Okay, so next we'll go on to the rest of the fiction, like the other fiction I got from charity shops. The first one I've heard such a ridiculous amount about, and it was obviously in shops all the time, but I never got it. I seen it in the shop and it was, I want to say, £1 or £1.50. And it's Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. Obviously this has a movie coming out. It's got a lot of excitement and build around it. I think this title doesn't give anything away about what this book is about. And so whenever I seen it on shelves, I was always like, oh, it's not the kind of book I'll enjoy, because I was judging the cover and like, oh, I know what kind of books normally have covers like this and I don't really like them. Couldn't have been more wrong, because this is about a Marsh Girl who ends up being a suspect in a boy who gets killed, or is found dead anyway. Really love swampy, like girl in the forest type of vibes. I've been writing a short story that kind of follows that kind of vibe as well, and I love it. It's something I really enjoy. And so I really wish I'd actually picked this up sooner and read what it was about. I don't know how I managed to hear about it all of the time and watch Booktube and all of that stuff and never actually find out what that book was about. The Bookshop on the Shore by Jenny Colgan. This isn't one that I think I would have bought, but it was only £1. If it was full price, I don't think I'd buy it because I wouldn't be sure if I'd like it. But occasionally I do really like just full-on cheesy romancy type book that has no pressure, no tension, just easy cheesy situations, and this feels like that kind of book. So this is about a single mother who's struggling to cope with her little boy. He refuses to speak. So they move to Scotland to help run a bookshop, and the owner is really moody and distanced from Zoe, who's the single mother. However, he has a real connection with Harry, who is the little boy. Goes from there. Probably cheesy romance ensuing. We like that. Another book I heard loads about a few years ago, and I always saw it and thought that looks like something I'd enjoy, but I never picked it up. So we finally got a copy, and it is Ghosts by Dolly Alderton. This is about somebody who has plenty to celebrate. She's got a successful career, a food writer, new home, loving friends and family, but her 30s have not been liberating. She has fading friendships, exes popping the question, and everyone's moving on. And so then she meets Max, who tells her on date 1 that he's going to marry her, but that seems like an exciting new development will ensure this year is Nina's strangest yet. And then I got 2 non-fiction. So the first one I got was I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara. Again, years ago this did its rounds on Booktube, and I thought it sounded really interesting, and I remember listening to a podcast about it. And this is one woman's obsessive search for the Golden State Killer. But yeah, I never read it. I didn't know if I'd enjoy it, and the thing that pushed me to get it is because I was with my partner that day, and all of my partner's books are super creepy and I would not read. They're all about prisons or serial killers or NHS true life stories of like my life on the front line or 24 hours as a paramedic or whatever. I don't know why she reads them because it's literally a job, but she reads them anyway. So it kind of pushed me to be like, well actually if I get this, she'd probably enjoy it too, so I don't mind buying it, because even if I don't enjoy it, she probably will. This is about Michelle McNamara, who was really invested in trying to solve the Golden State Killer and ended up dying before she ever found out who he was, but he has actually been found and convicted now. Unfortunately that was after she died, so she never knew that, but yeah. And then the last one that I got when I was there was Invisible Women, Exposing Data Bias in a World Designed for Men by Caroline Criada Perez. I'm really sorry, I don't know how to say that name. I really wanted to read this. If you've been watching my channel for a long time, I used to read a lot more feminist non-fiction. It's just something that I've kind of fallen off the wagon with. Non-fiction in general, I think I used to read a lot more. I'd not been reading loads at all for the last like 2 years, I'd say. Again, I fell off the wagon with everything, feminist non-fiction included. But this one I remember hearing a lot about at the time when it came out and really wanting to read it. I remember hearing someone talk about statistics to do with like seatbelts and how they're designed for men. So you're more likely to get injured in a car accident if you're a woman just because the seatbelt's not designed for women, it's designed for men. And that alone made me want to pick this book up because that's insane. And so yeah, I've just never had it, and I found it in a charity shop and it's really cheap, so I decided to pick it up. And then lastly, I have 2 books that I picked up. These were, you know, when you're in the supermarket and they've got 2 for £8 on and you're doing the weekly shop, you're like, oh, shall I get some books as well? Shall I just sneak them in the trolley? And they got snuck in. So the main reason is because I've seen one book and it had Paris on the front, and I love Paris. If you know anything about me, Paris is like my favourite place. So it is The Paris Connection by Lorraine Brown. Could one split second change her life forever? So this is about a woman who, her and her partner are on their way to Amsterdam. I don't know how it happens, but basically she ends up getting off the train in Paris and he carries on to Amsterdam. And so in the like day before she's supposed to like meet him in Amsterdam, I'm assuming, or can get a connecting train or whatever, she meets a man called Leo and they spend the day together in Paris and everything changes. Da da da, because of course it does. And then the last one, I don't actually know if I'm going to enjoy, but it is The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. I feel like I have been hammered into buying this by Book Talk. And I don't think I would have. I kept seeing it and thinking, nah, it's not really my thing, but it was 2 for £8 and there was literally nothing else that I wanted. And this was the only thing that I've seen on the shelf that I was like, I do keep hearing about it, maybe I'll give it a try. So it's about a woman called Catalina who needs a date for her sister's wedding because she's been lying about having an American boyfriend, and her ex-boyfriend and his fiance are going to be at this wedding. And so she has 4 weeks to find someone willing to cross the Atlantic for her and aid her in her deception of pretending that she has a partner. And so she meets a boy who she is basically going to pretend is her husband. It sounds very much like The Wedding Date, if anyone's seen that. The one with the girl from Will and Grace in. It's not Patrick Dempsey. What's that guy called? He's in My Best Friend's Wedding. Yeah. There's a film, it's called The Wedding Date. It's got Amy Adams in as well. It sounds very much like that book. Don't know if I'm going to enjoy that one, but we're going to give it a try anyway. Why not? If you couldn't tell, I've just been reading a lot of romance recently. I think I find romance really easy to read when I've got other stuff on. I really love reading like non-fiction or reading fantasy or reading all that sort of stuff when it's like I have an afternoon to myself or a day to myself and I can read it. When it's like me reading before bed, I need something easy that's not heavy at all. So romance is like a perfect thing for me to reach for when I want to read before bed but I don't want to read heavy. So that's why there's a lot of romance in here, and I listen to like romance or YA a lot when I'm at work as well, because I listen to audiobooks at work, but obviously I can't listen to any audiobooks that are I don't want to say too good. I'm not saying these books aren't good, but I can't listen to something where it's going to completely pull me in and be my everything, because then I'm not doing any work. So I kind of have to, you know, find the perfect book for the perfect moment. So romance has its place in my reading routine, and so yeah, I thought I'd get a few. So this is my pile of books that I got after I said that I wouldn't buy any more books. In the, what, week since I filmed that video, these are all the books I've got since. So yeah, that's a bit ridiculous, but thank you very much for watching. If you have read any of these books and want to talk to me about them, or tell me any that you are excited to read, please do tell me in the comments down below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!